Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I want to talk to you about the Tirpitz. This is a German Tier 8 battleship in World of Warships. It's a premium ship, which means that anybody who's willing to spend a bit of in-game cash can acquire it immediately with a commander and start playing it, which has also given it the nickname the Tirpitz because you get a lot of inexperienced players using this ship and not really understanding its abilities or how to play it properly. I've probably promoted this stereotype a bit, but I'm starting to get the hang of the ship now, and it is honestly one of the most fun ships that I play. I'm a person who got into World of Warships and tried out battleships and was like, no thanks, too slow, not enjoyable. Granted, I was using some of the slower US battleships at the time, and 20 knots is pretty painful, I think, regardless of what kind of player you are. But once I started playing the Tirpitz, I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of versatility with this ship. This ship is a brawler. It's got torpedoes, it's got good armor, it's got insane secondary guns allowing you to engage multiple targets simultaneously. It's got spotting aircraft, so you can shoot long range if you need to in a pinch or spot people over mountains. It's got a huge amount of health and the ability to heal back up incredibly well because it's got a very well protected citadel, so you can repair a lot of that incoming damage. It's just a really versatile, fun battleship, and I've been having an absolute blast with it. Like, there's some games that I've had where I've gone up against 3 battleships and killed all of them, which is insane. Now, I want to try commentating over some of my gameplay here a little bit and talk about what's going on and what happened. All of this gameplay was live streamed, so if you're there in the moment, you could see me reacting and sort of freaking out at all the crazy stuff that was happening. But commentating over it, I think, is going to, one, allow me as a player to try and better understand what was happening, both the mistakes I made and why some of the damage that I put off was so effective, and also just kind of better explain the situations as they unfold. Because sometimes when I'm playing live, I'm not exactly dictating everything as it unfolds, or I'm just sort of reacting or having reactionary moments as opposed to cool, calm, collected analysis of what's happening in the battle and at what stages. So I kind of want to go over some of the more intense moments I've had with the Tirpitz, talk about how I got through them or how I sort of capitalized on bad situations and turned them into decent situations. Now, for example, in this game here, I've peeked out from behind an island to get a cheeky broadside on this Bayern here, and it's worked. I wasn't expecting him to turn his guns back on me because I thought he was pretty distracted with other guys. He does get a good broadside return on me, but it's too little too late. I'm able to finish him off and get back behind this island here and then put out the fires and start regenning my health for the next battle. Now, really, in this situation here, we control 3 points on the map. For the most part, it makes most sense for our team to just kind of retreat, play a bit more passively, because we're going to win with points. But, you know, as an impatient player, I'm more interested in finishing off their team and wrapping up the round, because combat is fun. This is a competitive game. I want to see the action. And so there's a Tirpitz coming around the island here. He's got well over 10,000 more HP than I do, about 12,000. And so this doesn't exactly make sense for me to engage him full on here. I was hoping he would remain spotted so I could get some early torpedoes off. He's unspotted though, and I'm giving him far too much of a broadside. I try and turn back into it, but it's a little too late, and he gets a massive broadside on me. Target him with the secondaries. I'm now turned back into it, so his next broadside shouldn't do quite as much damage, but at this point, it's a little too late. He got the good hit off, and I'm just trying to angle against the other cruiser a bit. We get 2 torpedo hits on him, damage him massively. For some reason, he seems to be taking flooding damage. I guess his damage con has not recharged yet, so he's taken flooding damage. He would probably have died to me here, although I think the cruiser ultimately finishes him off here. And so the trade actually worked out for more damage in my favor despite my mistake, and I managed to wrap up that round with 6 torpedo hits, 167,000 damage, tons and tons of secondary hits. This ship just went full-on brawl mode this round. Now, this next round, I'm going to sort of speed up the intro here because for the most part, it's a lot of positioning for me for the first part of the game. The whole team seems to be kind of migrating to the right, and the Tirpitz doesn't always do so well solo. Generally, as a Battleship player, you got to play where your team is spotting and giving you good intel. So what I've done here is I've started moving over to the right side of the map where the rest of my team is going. We've got a DD that's sort of capped down below, and I'm feeling confident about this upper right flank here. Although the cruisers kind of get there before the battleships, they start taking some damage and they start retreating a bit. So we're fighting over this top control point, and by the time I get there, a bunch of the ships have sort of pulled back, and I have to make a decision of, do I want to continue with the assault and push up, or do I want to turn around and try and fight some other angle? Our team is already down a battleship and a destroyer, and I've decided that if I pull out from around this island, I can get a decent angle on this battleship out here, and maybe even do a little bit of damage to that destroyer. But as I'm pulling up, there's another battleship in front of me. I'm not angled in a bad point against him. I put my secondaries on him, and I continue on with my plan. As I further pull out, there's a cruiser right next to me. Dangerous distances. I switch my secondaries onto the cruiser to try and do a little bit more damage to him, and I start to turn around. I've gotten in way over my head here. I'm about to give broadside to this battleship in front of me, but continuing forward against him is going to be giving me broadside to another battleship and the rest of their team. So I have to pick the lesser of two evils here. I'm making a sort of hastily retreat out of this big potential mistake that I've made here. We get some good penetration against the Colorado. We managed to avoid a lot of the incoming fire from the DD and Bismarck out there. All things considered, I was able to turn around pretty quickly. I do have the steering upgrade to give it a little bit better maneuverability, which is nice. It kind of plays out a little bit more like a battle cruiser than a battleship sometimes. So I was able to make a pretty hastily retreat. We caught the cruiser on fire, did some damage with our secondaries, switched the secondaries back to the Colorado to try and just mess with it as we retreat here. And I think I'm out of range of anybody shooting HE rounds at me right now, so I go ahead and put out the fires. As the Colorado continues to shoot me, I'm not giving him a broadside, but the Colorado is now giving me a full broadside. And even though I can't get all of my batteries on with it giving me broadside while I am angling against it, is a much better situation for me. I shoot the torpedoes just on the off chance that the Colorado decides to turn into me, because I'm still kind of amazed that he's just giving me full broadside there, but he doesn't. And so I just continue to pound and pound and pound with those armor-piercing rounds. Even here, the Colorado had the opportunity to make a hard right turn and try and escape me, but he doesn't. And my secondaries are dealing damage. My primaries are dealing great damage. He's just sitting there waiting to get deleted by me. And sure enough, the last AP rounds go right through his superstructure, and that's that. However, I'm not out of hot water yet. The carrier is going to keep me detected with aircraft. I am one of the more vulnerable ships on my team right now, kind of separated from the rest of the fleet. In fact, the rest of the fleet is really down on numbers. They've lost a lot of strength, and I've got some meanies coming in to try and finish me off. In fact, I've got a Bismarck coming right my way, and for the most part, the Bismarck is my superior when it comes to close quarter combat. Another German ship with incredibly good secondaries and good armor. This is going to be a rough battle. It's also outclassing me in health right now. I just took some extra torpedoes. My heal is on a 30-second cooldown. This is going to be rough. I don't have a lot of options. I can't keep going where I'm going. I'll give it a full broadside, which will cause me to lose immediately. So the Bismarck comes around the corner, and I should have shot for the superstructure there instead of the nose of the ship. I didn't really do any damage. So that's not great. My secondaries are starting to cause fires already. Interestingly, he uses his damage con immediately, which is definitely a mistake considering I've got both more fire potential to cause for him and torpedoes. The Bismarck does not have torpedoes. I do have torpedoes, and we're sailing right past each other. I fire them a little bit off mark, so we get 3 torpedo hits, massive damage. Had I fired more accurately, I would have got 4 immediately and killed him out right there. So he's still alive and able to deal a little bit more damage, but He's taking tons of flooding damage and fire damage at this point, and he's done for. Oh, and what's this? A Baron, who I've targeted immediately with my secondaries. He's come to finish the job, probably surprised that I'm the one coming around the island and not his teammate, the Bismarck. And I'm pretty hurt. I'm on fire. I got airplanes attacking me. I got him attacking me. I assume that I'm basically done for in this situation, but he's giving me a full broadside. Again, a bit of a mistake here. I'm not exactly sure what he should have done in the ship. I'm not super familiar with the Bayern, except that I do outclass him. I'm a higher tier. We get 3 torpedo hits on him with my other side torpedoes. I should have turned away from him at this point. I'm honestly just surprised that I'm alive right now. And I don't turn away. He gets some decent broadside hits on me, takes me out finally, but he used his damage con, I believe, on the flooding earlier, and now he's on fire again from my secondaries. And so he's got what looks to be at least 2 fires going on in his ship, and he's just burning right now. It's only a matter of time. So I went head on right there with 3 battleships. Even a cruiser was in the fray for a bit, and I did a good, like, almost half of his health too. And I came out by sinking 3 different battleships. Granted, the third isn't sunk yet, but he's going to pop up on screen in just a second. And once he does, that'll turn this game into a 5v4. Granted, my team with the disadvantage and 1 less cap, it's not looking good for my team, but there is a chance. And miraculously, they're able to come back from this situation and pull off a victory. And we finish out the round with 181,000 damage, 6 torpedo hits, a ton of secondary hits. What is it, like 11 fires started, 2 floods, 20 aircraft shot down. It was an insane round. Probably the best round I've ever had with the Tirpitz so far, and I haven't been playing the Tirpitz that long, but this is a battleship that's like just about waiting for that right moment to shine. I love having torpedoes on a battleship. It surprises so many people, I think, where they're just like, oh, right, I forgot that you can hit me with a broadside of torpedoes. And that is just such an enjoyable thing to have when going up in these crazy close quarter battleship wars. You can win and come out on top in so many situations. This was done with only a 10 skill point captain, and we are going with sort of a pseudo secondary build where I could manually control my secondaries, but all the other fun upgrades that come with that were not applied yet. So this ship is ultimately only going to get better, and I cannot wait to play the Tirpitz with a 19-point commander. That's going to be absolutely unreal. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.